Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jake Shu. I'm chair of the Apprenticeship 2030 Commission. It's my pleasure today to welcome all of my fellow commissioners to this meeting. I also welcome any guests and members of the public joining us here today. This is the last scheduled public meeting of this commission, and actually the last meeting of the commission. So we've reached a big milestone. During this meeting today, we're going to discuss and vote on the draft final report and recommendations for the commission. Before we get started, a few things. I'd like to remind all commission members that in the audience of a few items concerning this virtual meeting. First, this session is being recorded. It's going to be made available on the DLS, Department of Legislative Services website in the next few days. The agenda for today's meeting was shared with the members of the commission directly and is posted on the Maryland General Assembly's website. The meeting is scheduled to conclude at 3 p.m., but if we can cover the agenda items before them, we'll adjourn the meeting early. And we will not be responding to comments or questions posted in the webinar chat. If a commission member has a question during the meeting, please use the raised hand function. And finally, audience members who have questions or comments can email the commission members at apprenticeship2030@ubalt.edu. Any messages received there will be forwarded by the Schaefer Center to the commission members. As we start, first and foremost, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to each of you for being here today. These have been challenging times, full of uncertainty, change, and pressing workforce needs, but your dedication has never wavered. I also want to extend my deepest gratitude to our elected officials, leaders in the administration and the General Assembly, public servants, leaders of nonprofits and mission-first organizations, and our entire team that has been supporting this mission. But most importantly, I want to express my deepest gratitude to the incredible staff members who support and serve those who serve. Staff at both our public institutions and at the Schaefer Center have been a cornerstone for getting us here today. Your commitment to this mission is invaluable and irreplaceable, and I'm truly honored to work alongside you. We gather today at a critical juncture. Our economy is evolving at an unprecedented pace, reshaping industries and redefining the skills we need to succeed. Employers continue to struggle to find talent, while too many people remain underemployed or burdened by education or job training programs that haven't translated into real-world opportunities or family advancing wages. For decades, we've debated how to bridge this gap, right? Experimenting with lots of different things, right? Yet the skills gap continues to persist. As chair of this commission today, I firmly believe that one of the most powerful solutions lies in modernizing and expanding registered apprenticeships. But we must do it differently than in the past. Apprenticeships should not be confined to traditional trades alone. Today, they must extend into cybersecurity, healthcare, IT, clean energy, education itself, creating direct, sustainable pathways to careers in high-demand fields. If we can get this right, apprenticeships can really become engines of inclusive economic growth, bringing together government, employers, business, labor, and education to make them a mainstream hiring practice. That said, we've seen too many workforce programs that look promising on paper but fail in practice. We've learned from our partners in organized labor that quality matters. Right? Workers need apprenticeships that lead to family-sustaining careers, not just another round of training that ends in frustration. And employers, while open to new models, won't change their hiring practices out of goodwill alone. Right? We must make these business cases clear. If apprenticeships provide the right skills faster, more affordably, and with greater long-term returns than chasing talent in a tight labor market, employers are going to embrace this as a core strategy, not just a pilot program. But let's be honest, right? Many employers, especially small and mid-sized businesses, don't have the capacity to build apprenticeship programs from scratch. That's where the broader ecosystem comes in. Chambers of commerce, workforce nonprofits, education providers, training organizations, what we all call intermediaries, must play a larger role in developing and managing large-scale apprenticeship pipelines. And while we recognize the vital role of intermediaries, we also must ensure that they uphold the highest standards of quality and accountability. And we could look to the gold standards established by our partners in organized labor so that this system remains strong, sustainable, and worker-focused. Finally, perhaps the most transformative shift we need to embrace is viewing apprenticeships not as jobs, but as generational investments. When a parent secures a stable, well-paying career, it lifts an entire family, impacting education, health, and community well-being. That's why our work must be grounded in real data. The information already exists. I've seen that in our commission. It's all over. It's all over our state. But it's time that we use it to measure success, right? Drive accountability, and scale only what works. We don't need more programs for the sake of programs. We need a commitment to real-world solutions that generate proven results. Of course, this isn't going to be a one-size-fits-all approach. Every region in our state has unique industries, demographics, and workforce challenges. Our success is going to depend on tailoring these broad principles that we've come together on as commission to meet the local needs while maintaining the integrity of what makes apprenticeships work. If we stay focused, harnessing employer demand, strengthening our apprenticeship ecosystem, and committing to a long-term impact, generational impact, we can build a blueprint not just for Maryland, but for our nation. Apprenticeships done right are the catalysts we've been waiting for, a solution that closes the skills gap, fuels economic mobility, and expands opportunity for countless Americans. In this time of rapid change, we must act with boldness, urgency, and above all, a commitment to ensuring that no one is left behind. The report that we're going to talk about today is not the final answer on how we scale apprenticeships in Maryland. It's just the beginning. It represents the best thinking from some of the brightest and best minds thinking about apprenticeships and workforce from all around our state, from many, many different stakeholders, right? And our goal is to get to consensus, to really get to the majority consensus from the experts that we have gathered here today. And one thing I can say for sure is that all of us have dedicated ourselves to solving one of the most pressing workforce challenges. So today, let's move forward together. That time of action is now. And so with that, at our last public meeting, we discussed the draft recommendations developed through our work last year. Again, it's been 2 years that we've been at it, nearly, right? Including last year, we talked about the work group meetings, site visits, the survey of employers and labor unions conducted by the Schaefer Center for Public Policy. Many of the recommendations in this current round are going to look a little bit different from the last round, right? And some of the recommendations were combined into one larger recommendation, and others were corrected due to legislation or comments from commission members. The plan and goal for today is to get to majority consent on the recommendations. I've taken the liberty of really dividing the recommendations into 2 groups. First, there appears to be general agreement about many of the recommendations in the report. So we're going to review those and give everyone an opportunity to potentially take any things out of that list. But the goal is to vote on those first and be able to sort of get the ones that there's already consensus on. And then there are a few recommendations, 8 of them that we've sort of identified that will lead some more discussion. And so we're going to spend the majority of our time today focused on those. So let's start first with the recommendations that I don't think need a lot of discussion right now, but we'll put them up on the screen. All right, well, I'll read through these real quick. I think you all have them in the draft report in front of you, so a lot more details you should have in front of you, but we'll quickly summarize the headlines here. Again, these are the recommendations where we've identified there is broad consent. Recommendation number 3, establish a major and continuing marketing campaign to increase understanding of registered apprenticeships among unions, employers, and others. Recommendation number 7, use state procurement to incentivize registered apprenticeships. Recommendation number 8, reform the Maryland Apprenticeship Tax Credit. Recommendation number 9, direct state occupational and industry licensing boards to promote registered apprenticeships in their fields. Recommendation number 11, improve registered apprenticeship processes. Recommendation number 12, market registered apprenticeships to potential apprentices. Recommendation number 13, promote pre-apprenticeships that are connected to registered apprenticeships. Recommendation number 15, maximize registered apprenticeship classroom instruction in high school and community colleges. Recommendation number 16, leverage existing workforce and higher education and training subsidies for registered apprenticeships. Recommendation number 17, use the $25 million Maryland General Assembly appropriated for apprenticeships for startup costs for the Commission's recommendations. Recommendation number 19, require MORAD, which is the Maryland Office of Registered Apprenticeship Development, to collect relevant data on progress towards the 2030 goal and beyond. Recommendation number 20, expand data collection from intermediaries. Recommendation 21, estimate the potential demand for registered apprenticeships. Recommendation number 22, estimate the potential supply of registered apprenticeships. And finally, recommendation number 23, provide an annual report publishing data on adults and high school students entering registered apprenticeships. With that, I'd like to open this up now to our fellow commission members to see if there are any recommendations on this initial consent list that you'd like to take off the list and discuss in further detail. Yes, Delegate Gu.
Hello, good afternoon. First, I want to Chair Xu, thank you very much for your leadership over this commission. It has been a wonderful year. I joined the commission and learned so much. I really think the current recommendation makes sense. I really hope like we work together, get this through, and build a very robust, even continue this apprenticeship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Delegate Wu. Other comments or feedback? Any commission members with recommendations identifying the consent agenda that you'd like to move to the list for discussion?
Let me see here.
Where's Donna? Yeah. Hi, Donna.
Hi. I don't know if I want it moved. I just wanted to further discuss any reporting, because my biggest concern with the entire report is that it does not really reflect outcomes for workers. It reflects businesses and how many more apprenticeships we're going to get, but not what's happening to the worker. So I would hope that a report will be a longitudinal one that actually would report not in an aggregate, but by program, by each new program, wages, benefits, the career advancement over after graduation, and for a period from start to beginning, from start to end of about 5 years, so that we know that if we had any type of outcomes for workers in the real world of moving into middle class jobs.
Thank you for that, Donna. And I'll also open up other commission members who may want to respond. Or I think when we get into the actual sort of recommendations that we don't have broad consensus or majority consensus on, I think we'll have a lot of space to talk about those issues. But I think in general, I'll also just mention that one of the reasons for 2 years now we've really been focused on data, insights, and most importantly, accountability is exactly that point that Donna is making, right? Is that we need to be able to focus on real world results and really kind of using facts to sort of help us to understand what's working. Yes. Donna, is that your hand up again, or is it sorry, you're on mute.
I was remiss in not acknowledging your very thorough opening remarks, and very grateful to hear them, and hope that that entire introduction is part of this report that you gave. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise, I saw your hand up for a second. Saw it put down.
Yeah, I was wondering if we could discuss the tax credit recommendation a little bit more. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on where we landed on it.
Which recommendation is that one? Sorry.
I believe it was one of the recommendations on the first page that you.
It's recommendation number 8.
8. Okay.
Reform the Maryland apprenticeship tax credit.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put that into our next level of discussion. All right. If there are no other comments, can I have a motion to include all of the remaining recommendations identified earlier from the consent agenda in our final report?
I move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Thank you. All right. Let's get to the meat of this. Let's get to the other recommendations here. And so we've identified now 9 recommendations that really require more discussion. And Sarah, why don't we put the first one up? I'll just start reading it. So recommendation number 1, embrace the goal of increasing active registered apprenticeships to at least 2.3% of the state's labor workforce. I will sort of open this up now. Do any commission members have any comments or changes to this recommendation? If yes, please raise your hand. Yeah. Brian?
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that I know I was one that had a lot of voice about this one, and I appreciate the changes that were made, especially trying to get to that number in the next 5 years, and that understanding that we may not, and if we don't, that our goal is still to get to that 2.3%. But that 5 years may be a little extraordinary. So thank you for making that change.
Thank you, Brian.
This is Jim Rosapep. I just want to thank the folks who have been concerned about this issue, including Brian in particular, working with us on this, because the 2.3% is a very well researched and thought out goal based on what's been able to be done in other countries, what the reality in the construction trades in the United States. So there's a lot of evidence that the goal is reasonable. Brian's point about when we get there, I think is a realistic, a reasonable question. And so the fact that we have taken out the date but kept in the goal, I think is the right place to be. So I appreciate everyone's help on it.
Donna, I saw your hand raised.
I'm just, still concerned that as we go through this program, that we're going to see where we're trying to get to quantity instead of quality. And, while I appreciate that we took down the number 60,000, 2 point whatever is still 60,000. And, if we get there, fine. But I don't want to see all of the watering down on what a real apprentice is. Apprenticeship program and what an apprentice should be getting out of that program so that we hit a quantity instead of a quality. Thank you for the work that you have done on it.
Thank you. Other points of feedback, comments? Right. Well, if that's given the no other comments, can I have a motion to include this recommendation in our final report?
I move.
I'll second.
Second. All right. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All
Great.
abstaining. I'm abstaining.
Thank you. All right. Looks like the
Okay.
recommendation passes. Thank you. All right. Recommendation number 2, create a Maryland Office of Registered Apprenticeship Development, MORAD, with an advisory committee consisting of employers, union leadership, and legislators. I'll now open this up to any commission members who might have comments or changes to this recommendation. Donna, and then Delegate Wu.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that is within the Department of Labor, correct? Morad.
Yes.
So
yes,
it is in the department. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and that was added, I think, in the last version too. So we agreed as belongs under labor. Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Chair Xu. And I realize there's a need of a dedicated section, but at the same time, I'm a little concerned with the current physical situation we're facing now. So I probably will abstain from this one because it's a challenge here. So.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Senator Roosevelt.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to Delegate Wu's concern, and I certainly share it serving on the Budget and Tax Committee. But it is the case that this is embraced in the governor's budget, and the funding for it is in the governor's budget. And I expect strong support from the fiscal committees as we make other changes.
They never support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments, feedback? If not, can I have a motion to include this recommendation in our final report as well?
I move.
Kind of a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay, thank you. Wow, we're moving really fast through this. This is great. Recommendation number 4, scale the pay per apprentice model. Do commission members have comments or changes to this recommendation? Yes, Donna.
I'm sorry to keep, but this is very important to us, this whole report. And as you and I have talked, Mr. Chair, is that we really didn't get good baseline data on what we are achieving in our pay for performance. I had asked, like, where are the workers who have gone through these pay for performance apprenticeships, and that has not been tracked. And so to scale it based on no data of where a worker has ended up has great concerns for me. That's all I'm saying. And it was in your remarks that, we're data short in a lot of these places. I'm hoping from the report that we do start to have more data, but that's my concern. We're scaling up for what? Just a number of businesses that create apprentice, but not on an outcome for workers that is based on data. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments from our commission members? All right, well, let's move ahead to also have a motion here. So can I have a motion to include this recommendation in the final report?
I move.
All right, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me, aye.
Donna's
Yeah,
opposed.
also vote nay.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch. Who was that?
Hi, sorry, this is Greg Ackerman at the Building Trades.
Great. Thank you, Greg. Any abstains? All right, thank you. Looks like the motion passes. All right, moving on. Recommendation number 5, grow public service registered apprenticeships. This one, any commission members have comments or changes to this recommendation? Yes, Senator Carozza.
I think Senator Rosapep might have answered this question on a previous meeting, but since the Maryland Association of Counties and the Maryland Municipal League are mentioned in the report, do we know if that implies their support for this recommendation?
Good question. I've talked with them and they basically have said, we're supportive of expanding apprenticeships in the counties and the municipalities. We need a lot of help. And we need a lot of help from the Department of Labor. And it comes back to some of this funding issues, is they don't feel they can do it alone. So I think in context, I think they don't have opposition to it, as long as they're not expected to do it all by themselves.
Are they, I mean, the concern is that it would be perceived as a mandate, which I don't think is our intention.
No, not at all. No. They understand it's not a mandate.
And I
No,
think,
excuse me, go ahead.
I just think it might be helpful that we communicate that. I don't want to blindside any organizations since they're actually mentioned. Whether they're, I just want to be in the position that they're either neutral or support, as opposed to find out afterwards they opposed it.
We shared it with them. The question they raised was, were they going to get support in pursuing it from folks who know more about apprenticeships than they do? And given the context of the whole report, which is intended, including setting up this new Office of Registered Apprenticeship Development, which will be there to help them, including the funding that is in the governor's budget. They've not taken a formal position, so I don't want to imply that. But in talking with the staff, they say they seemed like, okay, if it's not a mandate, that's exactly what you're saying. If it's not a mandate, and you want us to work with you, work with folks on it, we're cool with that.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Do any other commission members have comments or feedback on this recommendation on scaling registered apprenticeships in public service? All right, if not, can I get a motion to include this recommendation in the final report?
I move.
Second.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No. All opposed? Any abstained? All right, motion passes. Great. Where are we? All right, moving to recommendation number 6, scale registered apprenticeships in state regulated industries. This one, commission members with comments, Tanya Terrell.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairman. So I just have a comment here. I think that the recommendation to just have a plan, which is what's in the body of the recommendation, is a bit of an oversimplification on what would really need to be examined from a regulatory perspective. To me, it seems like there should be some addition to this recommendation so that we could be prudent about pursuing some sort of financial analysis, because there would be an impact on consumers, especially in this current environment.
Thank you, Tanya. Other comments? All right, well, if there's no other comments, can I have a motion to include this final recommendation in our final report?
I move.
And a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Chairman, I'm abstaining.
Any opposed? And we have any abstain?
I'll abstain.
2 abstains. All right. Thank you. Motion passes. Jumping back to recommendation number 8. Which we pulled out the last one. Yes, reform the Maryland Apprenticeship Tax Credit. This was pulled off of our consent list. Can I sort of ask any commission members with comments or changes to this recommendation?
I'm sorry, raise my hand there. Hi,
Go ahead.
I wonder if I could jump in.
Of course.
Yes, thank you. I think we still have concerns about the prevailing wage component of this. So, you know, we would support a recommendation that allowed companies to pay the apprenticeship rate for prevailing wage in order to continue to be eligible for the tax credit. But we still believe there should be some sort of floor. And you know, recognizing obviously that there are a handful of trades that pay first year apprentices you know, below 50% of prevailing wage, but nonetheless don't believe that it sends the right message getting rid of basic, you know, wage standards as a condition of a state tax credit. So in its current form, I think we would oppose.
Thank you, Greg. Brian.
Yeah, Greg, no offense, but I got to speak for the insulators. And yeah, Julio asked me to as well, that the insulators are one of them trades. Our signatory employers took advantage of that tax credit before that change and were ineligible to take advantage of that tax credit after the change. And so the insulators at least want their employers to be eligible again, and support the change.
Other comments? If no other comments, can I have a motion to include this recommendation in our final report?
I move.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
I oppose.
Oppose.
I oppose.
Oppose.
Sorry, okay, I just want to make sure we catch that. So it was Greg, Donna, Kenya, and I didn't catch the third.
Denise.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Sarah, did you get that? Or just want to make sure we capture it. Yeah.
Yes, I have Donna, Greg, Kenya, and Denise as opposing.
Great. Thank you. Any abstains? Motion passes. All right. Recommendation number 10, provide startup and scale grants to registered apprenticeship intermediaries. Commission members have any comments or changes to this recommendation, number 10?
Yes, I have a question. And I for the viewing audience, I guess, I am new, so I was not a part of the discussions earlier. We had a discussion on one recommendation earlier as it related to the fiscal note, and I guess I would just ask about the fiscal note on this, providing grants. Is there an impact on that? I know that Senator Rosa Pett probably has the answer.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. 2 years ago, we put aside $25 million in the dedicated purpose account to be available for startup costs resulting from the recommendations of this group. And the Department of Labor can give more detail, but their intention is to start drawing on that money as soon as we get this done and the budget passes. And the governor's apprenticeship bill also provides for money in FY26 from the dedicated purpose account. So
Perfect.
yes, thank you. Good question. Thank you for being fiscally responsible. We appreciate it over on BNT.
I'll just jump in on behalf of the Department of Labor that's all accurate, and this is a portion of the RAISE Act.
All right. Can I have a motion to include this recommendation in our final report?
I move.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Any abstains? All right, the motion passes. All right, recommendation number 14, maximize registered apprenticeships for high school students. Yes, Kenya. You're on mute, Kenya.
Time of technology. I just want to say here for this particular recommendation, we still have concerns with this. I know that there is language in here that states that the education, safety, and well-being should be at the forefront. We would support this and actually be on board with this if there were more specific details given to what it would look like far as the education, what would it look like far as specifics on safety, as well as the well-being of our scholars participating in these apprenticeships. So we still have concerns with that, not knowing and taking a gamble on what it might be at this point. It's just still a concern for ours.
Thank you, Kenya. Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to highlight the importance of this recommendation. Many school districts are really working to try to get their CTE and enhance that, provide a career path for a lot of high school students. So I strongly believe by offering apprenticeship and expand that, enhance that, will be great benefit to the high school, to the school system, and even to the workforce. I really appreciate this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Wu. Other comments from other commission members? Yes, Myra.
I just want to offer as chair of the CTE committee, this is certainly of great import. We view this as incredibly important, and also completely understand the comments that were made, and that part of what we're focusing on is, and this is really to Donna's earlier comments as well, the whole point of building apprenticeships is to drive better economic and employment outcomes long term. And so I just appreciate all of those comments and want to be sure this group and those listening understand that is certainly at the forefront of the CTE committee's work as we think about how these apprenticeships get built out for high school students.
Thank you, Myra. Other comments from commission members? Can I have a motion to include this recommendation in our final report?
So moved.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstain?
Abstain.
Is that Kenya, or is there another abstain?
I would like to abstain as well, Chair Sue.
Thank you, Denise. All right. Motion passes.
Abstain from Donna, I hope. Okay, thank you.
Three abstains. Great.
I'm sorry, make that 4.
All right, 4 abstains. Got it. Thank you. Motion passes. All right, and wow, we're on the final recommendation. I can't believe it. So, recommendation number 18, identify a permanent revenue source for registered apprenticeships. Do any commission members have comments or changes to this recommendation? Yes, Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Chair Xu. I think the similar concern is, I don't feel at the right time, the current time right now. I'm supporting this revenue approach, so I will vote no on this one, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Wu. Other comments, Commissioner? Yes, Senator Roosevelt.
Yeah, I understand the fiscal environment we're in right now. The critical point about this recommendation and the context of this report is this is a long-term view. As we talked about earlier, we have short-term, the next couple of years, we have the money we need to scale apprenticeships and carry out the recommendations. But for the long run, we need to think about options for permanent funding. It's like with any part of government. You need to think long-term as well as short-term. And so essentially what this recommendation is saying is sometime in the future, somebody needs to figure this out. We shouldn't assume that what we're doing right now will be the permanent solution. Be fiscally responsible.
Other comments from commission members? Can I have a motion to include this recommendation in our final report?
So moved.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 1, 2, 3. Is that right? Senator Cardozo, Senator Donna Edwards, and Doug Wu. Any abstains? All right. Motion is then approved. Well, we actually made it through all of the all those recommendations pretty quickly. This is actually probably the fastest public meeting we've ever had. Senator Cardozo, yes.
Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for your leadership. This being part of this commission for the past couple years and the inclusion of such a cross-section of talent, the field trips that you led or delegated, I really do believe it kind of brought out the best of us, bringing our individual experiences. And along those lines, my only suggestion is when in the final report, when we list the names of the members of the commission, I think it'd be nice to name the organizations of the non-legislative members so people can see that there was a strong cross-section. And I also think it might be helpful to list the districts of the senators and delegates, again, to show both a bipartisan makeup of the commission, but also the geographic diversity as well. So I'd like to offer those recommendations.
Thank you, Senator Cardozo. That's great feedback. Any other comments or proposed changes to this draft final report by our commission here? Are there any questions about this report? I kind of want to open it up to any open comments or feedback at this point. Yes, Delegate Wu.
Chair Xu, so when will this be available?
That's actually a great question. Well, I'll say this. So following this meeting, the Schaefer Center is going to do a final copy edit on this report. There will not be substantive changes from here, right? So this is, as far as this final meeting, this is locked in terms of the recommendations. If you have any copy edits, please email Sarah at the Schaefer Center so she can include them in the final report. And please provide them by next Friday, February 21st. I also mention here is if any commission members want to include a letter in this report stating your position on any of these recommendations, please also send that to Sarah at the Schaefer Center by next Friday. And the final version of this report is going to be sent to commission members when it submits to the governor. In terms of the timeline, actually, that's a good question. I'll probably look to Sarah on this front on when we can do that. But you know, we're at the finish line here, so it shouldn't be too far.
Chair Wu, I can just tell, or Chair
Please.
Sue, the plan is, so we'll get all any comments next week, put them in, and the next business day, the Monday after that, we will plan to provide it and send it out to everybody.
Thank you. Donna.
Yes, and Mr. Chair and all of the commission members, it has been really good to be part of this commission and to hear the varying views and to be able to offer labor's opinion on many things. I have to say that at this point, you know, I am president over at least 600 individual locals and, you know, several thousand, like about 300,000 workers that are members. And I am concerned with when and where this commission report may be brought up or used. And since we came to a consensus and not, you know, 100% agreement, and I know several people didn't vote either way, and in our world, that's considered a yes. But, you know, I have to give consideration as to whether or not our name should be part of this final report. And so, you know, I will be sending something to you, Chairperson, because, you know, having had it used at a testimony already, I don't want to see year 26 or 27, someone saying, well, this is coming out of a report. And then the Maryland DC AFL-CIO is on it. And we have several unions that are against whatever is being proposed. So it's very nebulous for us and for me as our leader to have something go forward on a consensus and then and if it's going to be used as, well, this is a benchmark or a foundation, I can't really do that. And I've explained it to you, and I appreciate all of your thoughts and working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Senator Rosapep?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody from every perspective. It really has been a cooperative effort. So far as I know, this is the most thorough study on scaling apprenticeships that I've seen in the United States. And so other states are doing good things, and I wish them well. But I think Maryland is in a position now with Governor Moore's leadership with his legislation this session and what the Labor Department is doing and what the CT Committee is doing and what MSD is doing, and you get down the list. Everyone's coming together, and I think I totally respect Donna's and several other people's who have dissents on the various issues, and I think we do need to make clear, Mr. Chairman, however, you know, you decide, so that people's dissents are visible, so that nothing is misrepresented. But I also want to say the fact that we have overwhelming consensus on almost all of this is a big deal and a credit to everyone's effort and attitude in terms of working together. So I just want to thank everybody.
Definitely second that. Senator Augustine.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank everybody too. I also just want to say that, you know, I feel like the idea of this whole commission was to bring all these different voices to the table, and you're not going to agree. And the idea is to definitely try to find where this consensus is. But if you want to have a seat at the table and you want to be a part of what the recommendations are, I mean, that's a whole part of the process. I think it would just, you know, as someone who is responsible for convening things similar to this going forward, it's sort of like if you don't want to be a part of stuff or you know, it just makes it challenging when, you know, you come together, you don't agree, But your voice gets heard. Your influence on what the recommendations are throughout this. I feel like it's really been a robust participatory process, and nobody gets everything that they want. That's the business that we're in. So I feel good about the work product that has come out. I'm grateful for everybody's work on this. And so I just say thank you so very much. But I also will tell you all this. These are recommendations. These are recommendations that then come to the legislature. And I'll just be honest with you, we may or may not use them. I mean, that's just the way that this kind of works. But we are grateful for all the influence and impact that everybody has in sharing where they believe and being a part of it. So I just say thank you to everybody for taking so much of your valuable time to do that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Senator Augustine. Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Chair Xu. So I really try to echo many other commissioners' comments. One more thing I want to make an advertisement. So I have a bill HB 1047, which try to extend the apprenticeship tax credit. So you will be heard next Thursday. So if you are interested in that, look at that, come to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Wu. Any other comments from our commission members? Well, I just want to echo some of the comments that have already been said, right? This has been really, for me personally, an honor of a lifetime. And to be honest with you, like as a person who spent my entire career in the private sector, this has been a really great up-close civics lesson for me. But it's been amazing because I've come out of this with a lot of hope and optimism, right, for our ability to work together and our ability to actually get to consensus and actually be able to move the ball forward positively. As I mentioned at the outset, this is not the final answer, right? This is the beginning, right? This is actually how do we move this ball forward? And on that front, I'll just say that, we all know that progress and success is seldomly linear. It's seldomly something that happens in a straight line. It typically is something that happens in fits and starts. It might sort of, scale and grow slowly until it grows explosively and suddenly and unexpectedly. And so I'm a big believer that, if we all stay together, and I think the important thing is all of the dedication and commitment from all of our commission members here who've taken the time and expertise and really put your heart on the line here to get to the right answer together. I think that's what it just takes, right? It takes that continued determination and that goal and staying laser focused on that goal of scaling this program that I think is going to get us there. And so I want to also just thank all the individuals who've participated. We've had 6 working groups on this commission. We've had employers who've hosted visits. We've talked to commission members about their programs. We've had a lot of experts who've shared best practices, by the way, all over the world. And I just want to thank everybody for contributing to this commission and attending these meetings. Everyone on this call has been extremely passionate about this issue, and we appreciate all the comments and information that's been shared with us. And so with that, at 1:51 p.m., can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
A second.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for everyone's commitment.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.